Have you ever wondered why Squidward never leaves the one place he despises most? It's almost like an invisible force has him shackled to that register at the Krusty Krab. Today we're diving into the peculiar reality behind Squidward's endless cycle of quitting, getting rehired, and sticking around, whether he wants to or not. At first glance, it might seem like Squidward is free to do whatever he pleases. He's walked out on the Krusty Krab countless times across the series. Some fans point to episodes like Chum for Chum or Can You Spare a Dime, where he storms off, supposedly free at last, but then he reappears right back at the register as though nothing ever happened. How does that keep happening? In almost every instance where Squidward leaves, he either can't find better work, he's flat out miserable in his new life, or he slinks back out of desperation. It's like someone is hitting a giant reset button, forcing him into that cashier's spot over and over. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, and that's where Mr. Krabs comes in, because the reasons run deeper than you might suspect. A persistent rumor in the fan community is that Mr. Krabs wants Squidward right where he is, essentially locked in a never-ending cycle of low pay, high stress, and hopeless dreams. Why would Krabs need him so badly? Some say it's about money. Squidward, apathetic as he is, tolerates wages that most employees would find insulting. You see it in episodes where Mr. Krabs tries to replace him. Those new hires either demand too much, cause chaos, or don't stick around long. Squidward may dislike every minute of his job, but he's bizarrely reliable in Mr. Krabs' eyes, and that alone makes him too valuable to lose. But this isn't the only hurdle keeping Squidward at rock bottom. There's a bigger problem lurking in Bikini Bottom's view of him. Remember all those times Squidward tried to shine as a musician or artist, only for the entire town to boo, heckle, or worse? Fan speculation suggests that the people of Bikini Bottom just don't like him. It's almost a running joke. SpongeBob can do no wrong, and Patrick gets away with pure nonsense. But Squidward, they dismiss him without a second thought. That harsh reputation appears to follow him wherever he goes. In certain episodes, he demonstrates moments of genuine talent, a brilliant clarinet recital here, a surprisingly successful art piece there, yet the townsfolk rarely give him the recognition he craves. Even when he quits the Krusty Krab, he struggles to find new employment because everyone in town thinks of him as the grumpy cephalopod no one wants to deal with. Yet there's another layer to this tragedy, one that might be entirely Squidward's own doing. Despite his complaints, does Squidward actually want the chaos he pretends to despise? Think about the episode where he moves to an upscale squid-only community. He's thrilled at first. No SpongeBob, no Krusty Krab, no stress. But as time passes, the monotony eats at him. He misses the commotion. By the end, he basically returns to the very life he ran away from. Some fans believe Squidward has become dependent on the drama he claims to hate. He may scream for peace and quiet, but deep down, the unpredictability of SpongeBob and the constant complaining at the Krusty Krab give him something to focus on besides his own failures. If that's the case, then maybe he's partly responsible for keeping himself stuck. Still, you might ask, how does SpongeBob with far less experience land jobs left and right while Squidward can't catch a break? When SpongeBob gets fired, he's immediately scooped up by nearly every other restaurant in town. He's cheerful, enthusiastic, and frankly, a marketing dream. Meanwhile, Squidward has his clarinet, his art, his fancy tastes, and a sour attitude that pushes most folks away. Some fans whisper that SpongeBob's unstoppable optimism is almost magical, like he's favored by the universe, or at least by the show's writers. Squidward, on the other hand, is pigeonholed as the eternal loser. Realistically, though, his negative energy does him no favors in a town that adores sunshine and positivity. Each rejection from the city only drives him further back into Mr. Krabs' claws. But as if that weren't enough, there's one final piece that might doom Squidward's future once and for all. There's an unsettling moment in later seasons hinting at Squidward's fate many years down the line. Karen reveals that Squidward does eventually become a famous musician, but only after he's long gone, meaning his success arrives posthumously. Fans call this one of the darkest gags in the show, implying that no matter how hard he tries, real recognition comes too late. It ties back to everything: Mr. Krabs' exploitative hold, the town's disdain, and Squidward's own wavering confidence. All roads lead him back to that same cashier window, cynically peering out while the rest of Bikini Bottom giggles and bustles around him. So is he truly trapped by Mr. Krabs, the town's bias, or by his own self-sabotage? When you stack up every weird coincidence, sabotage rumor, and personal insecurity, it starts to look like Squidward is stuck for life. Partly by Mr. Krabs' design, partly by the harshness of Bikini Bottom, and partly by his own fears. He might hate that register, but he seems magnetically pulled back to it time and again. It's a vicious cycle of quitting, returning, and dreaming of grandeur that never quite materializes. But here's the real question. Is there any chance in some future episode or spin-off that Squidward finally escapes and finds genuine happiness? Or are we watching an eternal struggle that's destined to end only after he's gone, when the rest of the world finally wakes up to his hidden brilliance? Let me know what you think in the comments. Until then, keep an eye on the Krusty Krab, because as long as Squidward's behind that register, we can bet there's far more going on than meets the eye.